Hello and welcome to The Quest on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Rakhee Bakshee. In this show, as you know, that we've been sharing this interesting journey with you wherein we are talking to leading personalities, and each week we are bringing new faces for you. We talk to them, we hear them. Through them, we get to know about what's happening around our society, their views and their vision that we share through them to you also, and what an interesting journey it has been. So again, another episode now, and another special guest with us. He's a Rajya Sabha MP, Mr. Tiruchi Siva, my guest on the show. Welcome to the show, The Quest. Very nice to see you. Let's talk about, first of all, a very, very pertinent issue that we've just seen in Chennai, and I think I should throw much more serious light on that, is about Chennai floods. How is the situation now in Chennai?
The floods have receded, but the impact of the floods are still over there. The floods have washed away not only the roads, but also the belongings of the people in their respective residences. In some places, the flood went up to the first floor of the apartments, and it was something unimaginable and unseen in, rather unexperienced in Tamil Nadu. So far, we have never come across.
How do you think this whole issue was tackled? I mean, it was a matter of great concern for all of us here in North India, and we saw our brothers and sisters struggling with that kind of pain. But how do you think the authorities, the government actually looked at it? As you yourself said, that it was a very unseen, unprecedented kind of situation. So how will you really look at it?
No doubt, it was an unprecedented rain. Within 10 hours, the rain that poured was equal to 1/3 of the rains that pour in UK in a whole year. But I think had some precautionary measures had been taken, the floods would not have affected this much. Of course, there are some reasons which have to be addressed in toto. But apart from that, even in the Parliament, for a question to Ms. Kanimudi, the Environment Minister replied that the opening time of the Champarambakam lake was one of the reasons. It has been told by many, and it was also ascertained by very many experts, that the Champarambakam lake, which holds more water, had it been opened 2 days before, when the meteorological department gave a forecast that heavy rains ought to come down, had they opened the gates of the lakes and would it have been kept empty for something, the rains would have been taken in by the lake, and so that would not have affected the city. But since that has not been opened, because of the orders which the officers were waiting, which they have not got, the lake was full and it overflew, and it went across the city.
I think is one of the main reasons. Yes. But we are also talking about disaster management, and we always feel that it should be much stronger in terms of how it really gets advanced information and then kind of creates precautionary measures, as you were saying. So in general also, how would you look at our situation here in India, where we tackle disaster management, and how?
You're right. See, we have been telling this for quite a long. When Tamil Nadu was affected, Chennai was affected, and the nearby districts were severely affected by rains and floods. Some parts of the country were affected by drought. Both the issues were raised on the floor of the House in the Parliament. What is this? Totally contradictory. In a country, in one part you suffer drought, and in the other part the people are suffering because of flood means. Why it is so? So this has been discussed for quite a long time.
And I think one is to look at climate change, then in general.
Climate change is not the only reason. Even that has been ascertained by the ministry. Of course, global climate change, global warming is one of the issues to be concerned. But this thing is not because of that, because this has been for decades. As far as our country is concerned, one part always, when the northern sides are suffering from flood, we will be suffering from drought. Such is the situation. So it has been suggested by parties like us. We have been passing resolutions in our conference and in our party committees that the linking of the rivers from Ganges to Kaveri will solve the matter. Because always the Ganges is overflown, the Kaveri is running short of water.
That brings me to another pertinent question, as we were talking also about this whole interlinking of rivers. And that remains still an issue to be tackled, because the states then have a problem in terms of the legal aspect.
There is a legal aspect. Geographical issue is also there. It has crossed so many number of states and so many residential areas, and the amount that is involved, that is different. So we suggested, at present we can try linking of the southern rivers. I think the rivers that are flowing within the southern states could be linked, which is a little bit possible than that of linking rivers from the Ganges to the Kaveri. And as a pretext to it, to start with that, our party DMK, when was ruling, we introduced and we started linking the intra rivers, the rivers that are flowing within the state. We were trying to link them. If that is linked, at least, I think if Kaveri has got more water, some of the rivers in the southern districts in Tamil Nadu, they
for example, do you think these issues are being really addressed in the right manner and tone?
Yes, we started doing that, but after the government change, they didn't follow that up. So intra-linking of the rivers within the state and southern, if this happens within every state, so the linking of the southern running rivers will be very easily possible, and so also the northern rivers.
You know, we are also talking about how our neighbors are with us. I mean, of course, at a time when I'm talking to you, we are talking about terrorism in general and what happened in Pathankot. So we are talking about this whole dialogue with Pakistan. First of all, would you like to talk generally about terrorism as such and how it is affecting us? And then, of course, I'll come to another neighboring country also, but first about how you think the government is tackling it.
Yeah, much worrisome issue that is. Of course, terrorism prevails across the world. I think no country is spared from the impact of terrorism. And now that, you know, even in Delhi, see, in the early days, earthquake was something new to all of us. But now it is occurring everywhere. Even in Tamil Nadu is not an exception to that. We have to get ourselves prepared. So also terrorism. And earlier we presumed, or we experienced that the terrorism was in the borderline. They just encroached, or they just sneaked in, and there were some disturbances. But now it happens everywhere. See, in a park where the people go out for an evening in a weekend, they experience the shock of a bomb.
But I think that's where one expects, the common people expect the authorities to really take strong actions in terms of
it has
securing the nation.
It has deep-rooted now in various names, various forms, on various reasons. But anyhow, that is spreading. That has to be curtailed. I think the whole world is concerned. Like some virus which we have to curtail very seriously. This has also to be. And the cooperation of each and everyone is needed.
And one very sensitive issue, which of course when I was in Parliament office, one observed that you know, this whole issue about how we deal with Sri Lanka, another neighboring state, and you have talked about the rights of fishermen also. Would you like to share more light on that?
That's a very sad issue. See, this flood which we experienced in Chennai was a brief period, but the people in Sri Lanka are suffering for quite a longer time. See, it started since 1948. And issues were raised in various forums, in various forms. Later, rather, in spite of it getting settled down, it was increasing. And now that after what they call the civil war is over, and they say everything is over, but it is not so. The northeastern part of Sri Lanka is now occupied by the Sinhalese, colonized by the Sinhalese. And so also the military, the army that has been stationed there is a very big disturbance to the normal life of the people. Though it may seem to have settled down, but the people there are not in peace. They have not gone back to their original life.
But as a member of Parliament, you've raised these issues.
Yes.
Do you think it gets really addressed only when something flares up, or do you think we should have a sustained approach?
No, you are right. You are right. Perfectly right. We raised the issue we raised it in the Parliament when there is an issue, when it flares up. But at the same time, we have been constantly pressurizing upon the central government to take some action, permanent action, to solve this issue. For example, Rajiv Gandhi and Jayawardene Accord was suggested once, the 13th Amendment, if it is incorporated in the Constitution of Sri Lanka, that would bring at least a solution. But nothing happened. As long as Rakhee Bakshee was there, and the brutality was to the extreme. And have you ever heard that bombs were thrown in hospitals and schools? Not even during Hitler's period, like that. So people were not, those who were indulged in a war against the government was not targeted. Even the small children And the people who were taking treatment in the hospitals, lakhs of people were killed at the end of the civil war, which
How do you think a permanent solution towards that can be taken? I mean, how do you think the authorities are really looking at it seriously to find a solution or a roadmap?
It is the responsibility of the union government, because this is an issue between two countries, which see, we are more concerned about that because they are our brethren. They are our relationship is an umbilical cord relationship. So whatever pains them also pains us. Supposing if the foot gets hurt, the tear sheds tears, because it's a part of the same body. So also when the people of Sri Lanka are affected, we always get disturbed and we raise here. But we have been, when we were in power in the central government as a coalition party, even otherwise, we have been pressurizing each and every government. But as far as our union government is concerned, they say they are very happy to say that Sri Lanka is a friendly country, but they don't behave like a friendly country.
Another issue which whenever we talk about either South in general or here in Tamil Nadu, the language problem, and that's one issue that you've looked at.
Before that, with related to the Sri Lanka itself, not only the people of native of the Sri Lankans are affected, our fishermen, whenever they go out for fishing, even when they are fishing in the Indian waters, the Sri Lankan Navy, they trespass, they come, they severely deal with our fishermen. They damage their boats, they take away their catches and throw away they take their boats also, depriving them of their livelihood.
So I was talking to also about this language issue that you very keenly looked at.
Yeah, when I was in the Rajya Sabha in the last term, after a long time, I brought in a private member bill, which suggested that all the 22 languages in the 8th schedule of the Constitution must be declared as the official languages of the Union. That was a quite interesting discussion. We see surprisingly, the North Indian people who used to impose Hindi upon us, they supported my bill.
Why do you say impose Hindi?
Yeah, it was like that. It is like that.
Okay.
See, we are not against any language, but any imposition, I think, has to be resisted in that manner. Because you only see in Tamil Nadu, we have got only bilingual system. If you say that you will get a promotion only if you read a language which is the language of the people of one side,
and it becomes a
then
handicap.
we feel that we are being discriminated, we are let down. I am not speaking against. For example, if you are learning my mother tongue and you and myself are going to write an exams, you have learnt my language, but simply tell whether I will get more marks or you will get more marks. So you will learn a new language, whereas that is my mother tongue. So we have been telling that let English be the link language, and everyone's own mother tongue, let that be language of
But I can tell you that here right now the government, the new government that is there, feels that Hindi actually should be promoted much more.
This is not the voice of this government alone. This has been for years since independence. So that has been the resistance from our side. So that was misinterpreted that we are not in favor. But that is my bill that wanted to establish that. Yes, India is a vast country with diverse languages and diverse culture. And of course, everything is diverse. We have got a complex situation. In that situation, if you and myself are now conversing, it is one common language. In English, I can speak with him or with anyone else. Whereas your mother tongue, I do not know. And Telugu, both of us doesn't know. And Malayalam, none of us are know. So this is the situation. So we say that let us have one link language, common language, which will also help us to take us across the country, even
the globe,
globally, and let us have our own languages.
Okay.
So my bill suggested that, like Hindi is the official language, let Tamil also be the official language. Let Odia be also.
What was the reaction?
Yeah, that's what I said. Even Professor Ram Gopal Yadav from Samajwadi Party, he supported my bill and said, yes, we support it. As long as the regional languages or the native languages are concerned, we are not against. They are against English, that's all.
They have their own reasons.
And almost most of the people were supporting, one or two were contesting against. For example, the Rajasthani language, I think it is not even in the 8th schedule. Rajasthan people, they speak a language. I think some more than 10 lakh people speak.
So you really focused at something which I think touched people's chords also, because it's related to their I think emotional appeal is there when we talk about language.
You are right, perfectly right.
But right now we'll take a short break and we'll talk about another bill that you also raised, a private members bill, and we'll talk about that. But right now we'll have to take a very short break. We are right now talking to Mr. Tiruchi Siva on The Quest on Rajya Sabha TV, but don't go away because we are still talking to him about many important issues, and we'll come back very shortly. Don't go away. Welcome back to the show. You're watching The Quest on Rajya Sabha TV, and we are right now talking to Mr. Tiruchi Siva, and we were talking to him about a very interesting concept or a bill, private member bill that he raised actually, and we are talking about, a section that you talked about in Parliament, in fact, could have surprised some and shocked many maybe. You talked about the rights of transgenders. Why did you think of talking about it?
See, I have, my party basically is a party which fights for the causes of the downtrodden, the suppressed classes of the people and those who are marginalized. And the birth of my party itself is with that as the basic policy rather. And we have achieved many things after when we were in government in Tamil Nadu. So also we have even the Mandal Commission report was implemented thanks to the efforts of VP Singh when he was the Prime Minister, and we were the spearhead, and many such things. And so also this transgender community people whom I have come across personally here and there, and I have also addressed two of their conventions.
Okay.
And moreover, when DMK was ruling there, that was the first state to form a board for the transgender welfare of the community. We gave ration cards, we gave them some rights, and many such things, even employment and all. So after that, Maharashtra and West Bengal followed. But this was not enough. A welfare board, see now that in Tamil Nadu that welfare board is not functioning. So I thought a law in place would help the transgenders across the country, because they are more here. In Mumbai you can see them a lot, even in Odisha and many parts of even Delhi also. And surprisingly, they are so well educated, so knowledgeable.
Some of them are taking positions, doing very well also.
Very well.
One of them I know has become a principal actually in a college.
After my bill was passed, I'd say everything happened at the same time, and one girl has become a sub-inspector in Tamil Nadu now.
Okay.
And first the Thai Airlines has appointed one of the TGs as the air hostess in their airlines.
That's very nice, encouraging.
So I thought what could be done. So I have made a special mention, or I have made it, that things
How
didn't...
was it received in Parliament that time when you were talking about and you raised
That's I think it didn't work. So I thought something should be done otherwise. So I introduced a private member bill, and you know pretty well, introducing a private member bill and coming up for discussion is not an easy thing.
True.
So many people give, and it comes out because of through a ballot. And the bill which I mentioned earlier about the language issue, I waited for 5 years. It didn't come up in the lot. And even if it came, it didn't rank between the 5 or 6. This thing in the first time itself was placed in the second in the lot. So I was really enthused.
Moved also.
Yeah, rather. I felt happy. So I thought it is a right case. So I prepared myself and gave a speech. They gave me 45 minutes.
No, it really made an impact, and I can tell you today, even on this show, that a lot of people and a lot of observers actually looked at it very seriously. And I think I'm glad here is a parliamentarian who's taking interest on an issue, a social issue, which I think also made everybody think that you also do some very serious work, which takes me to another question of this whole idea about the section 377, which has been
apart from my bill doesn't deal. I have said very clearly in my bill that it deals with the welfare of the transgender community. All the other issues which are contentious have to be dealt with in the follow-up. For example, my bill suggests for employment, for education, employment, and a national commission in place to look after the implementations of the privileges that are being given legally to those people, and medical aid, legal aid and all. That was my foremost motive. I said that these TG people who are also human beings like us, when they are in a public bus stand, if they go out for a public convenience, for nature's call, they cannot get into the ladies' toilet.
Very, very pertinent.
So also they cannot get into men's toilet. They stand on the road. See, just imagine. So also if they get into the train, they are pushed away from both the compartments. They don't get food in the restaurants. See, they are also human beings like us. They have been deserted by their homes, by their own parents, and the society doesn't accept. What are we going to do?
So can you share with us how other fellow parliamentarians and how the House actually took it when you were talking about these
22 members participated. I think one of the rarest occasion that so many members participated in one private member bill. Usually, 2, 3, 4, 5 will not exceed. 22 members from across the, cutting across the party lines participated. So, after the debate was over, as always, the minister said, we will take care of it. I said, okay, your words are convincing, but it is not, I think, give me any confidence, because we have heard so many assurances in the past.
So how are you following it up now?
So I said, I pressed for the bill to be passed. Then they gave it for a voice vote. And in the voice vote, they said the bill fell down. I asked for a division. But that day, the House was more in number, unusually in Friday afternoon. Starting from the leader of the House, Mr. Arun Jaitley, and the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, all were there. Many people, many party leaders were there. So, again the minister insisted me to take back my bill, which was the convention. I said, we need a precedent for something.
How nice.
I want a division. I want to know whether my bill falls down or it comes up. Then Arun Jaitley intervened and said, he suggested the chair, through the minister, ask him to take it back again, or else we will go to the next step. Then the chair asked me, deputy chairman was there, he said, are you ready to withdraw the bill? I said no. I was very stern. 25 people, TG people are sitting in the gallery with so much of anxiety and expectations that they think that centuries long discrimination will be over by way of this bill. I don't want to let them down. No, I need a division. Then they again called for a voice vote. Unanimously, all parties supported, and ayes was heard after 45 years during a private member bill time.
I'm very delighted to share that experience. Yeah, and I share your delight, and I share your commitment also here as a parliamentarian. What you've done, I think we really expect, and also really respect the kind of work that you do otherwise also. But such attention given to such a subject, I think really needs a lot of praise also. Talking about this whole very contemporary issue right now, Jallikattu, do you think should be banned or not?
No, it should not be. See, it is our tradition and culture.
But doesn't it create violence? And that's why first,
Make a pardon?
I mean, isn't it something which also has a little bit of element of violence, I would say, though it's a sport?
What sort of violence? Have you seen that ever?
No, I mean, once you...
This is not the Spanish bullfight. There they know, they spear down the bull, or the bull goes down the man. Here in our place, rather the men will be hurt, the bulls won't be. They are trained bulls.
So why anybody should be hurt in a sport?
No, it's only these youth, they want to exhibit their valor. See, in our places, earlier they used to lift stones. Only if they lift a stone, they will give a bride to him for marriage. These are even Rama, he broke the bow to get married to Sita.
But the court has again intervened. Of course, the court has intervened, and for once here, I think the two parties are in one tone. Where of course we know the chief minister has also said that bring an ordinance.
And we are very much about it. See, every village will celebrate. You just come for Pongal and see how people are rejoiced to see that and participate.
The Animal Welfare Board has also intervened and said
see, you ban the carts which are pulling so much of heavy loads on the roads. They are the carts are made to pull by the bulls, which carry 3 tons of sugarcane or 2 tons of sand. And you see, have you ever gone to the slaughterhouse? Have you heard the moan of the sound of the bulls?
So quickly, as we have less time, I have to.
So, if at all you are concerned about the welfare of the things, this is not. It is only taming of the bull, not harming the bull.
I should only say that the court, maybe others should look at what you are saying and really maybe made their own interpretation. But quickly 2-3 points, talking about corruption in general, whichever election happens, this issue comes up that we should be less corrupt. We should look at a government which is transparent, which works for the people. What are your observations? How much authorities like you are working towards it?
Every individual across the world are concerned about it, since it has polluted the whole society. And now there are so many acts in place, though they are working, they are not able to weed out the corruption which has rooted down. So I think a new bill has come up now, and I think now is the select committee and they are discussing.
Do you think in Parliament now we're taking up bills correctly? Do you think there is unanimity and consensus, something that we dream about every time the session takes place? But
See, Parliament is a place where we debate, deliberate and decide. And there, of course, difference of opinions will crop up. If everyone concurs with the same view, I think there will not be an issue at all. We don't need a debating forum even. So whatever anybody may do, another person may have another view. So those things will be discussed, and in the parliamentary democracy, I think howling or shouting or interrupting all are parts of parliamentary democracy. But they should not harm. They should not harm or damage the basic thread of.
And I'll also take some seconds on even your state also, where there are big leaders, but sometimes we see them getting into there are charges of corruption, whichever party, whichever individual. I'm not naming anybody in particular, any party, but it happens. So your observations.
Make a pardon?
I mean, leaders that come into question, sometimes, authorities question them, and there are cases of corruption. So how would you really look at it?
That's it. See, no one is an exception. No one is not, everyone is bothered about that. So if we need some stringent laws, having plugging so many loopholes that are there, okay. I think this could be curtailed down. And I think day by day, as per the developing situation, the laws will also have to take. See, personally, we feel that even the constitution has to be relooked. As to this, though we have lived for more than 66 years.
You as leaders become more, let's say, morally set examples more and more to the people, in fact.
A wonderful constitution we have, which has lived for more than 66 years, whereas the other constitutions, as per research, say they have not crossed even 20 years of life, because they don't live up to the expectations. Our amending provisions help us, our constitution, to go along well. But even then, there are something to be done. So also the laws have to be relook, and we have to discuss, and various inputs coming in. I think we'll...
As we are ending up, and though it's a very interesting conversation going on, but as we are ending up, we know that you have some other ability which not many of us maybe knew about, but we discovered, and a lot of viewers maybe would like to also look at that, which is a surprise for them, is that you sing very well. So why not hum just before we end this conversation with you?
தூங்காத கண்ணென்று ஒன்று, துடிக்கின்ற சுகமென்று ஒன்று, தாங்காத மனமென்று ஒன்று, தந்தாயே நீ என்னை கண்டு, தூங்காத கண்ணென்று ஒன்று.
Sure, the audience are going to take a nice flavor out of it. So thank you so much for talking about all these issues, and we'll continue to look at the issues that you raise in Parliament also. And thanks a lot for sharing all these concerns with us on Rajya Sabha TV. And thanks for joining in on the quest.
Thank you
so much, and all the very best.
It was good to be with you at this time, and to have, I think, we had a good opportunity to discuss with our people. And through the quest, you have given me an opportunity to speak with the viewers of RS TV. Thank you very much.
All the very best once again. And that was Mr. Tiruchi Siva, of course, talking about range of issues on the quest on Rajya Sabha TV. We'll continue to discover many more such issues, and we'll continue to bring in more personalities for you here on this show. Thanks for watching this edition of The Quest. Namaskar and bye-bye.